Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following confession that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a message that I received from TikTok, and it reads like this. Hi, how are you? If you have ever worked retail in Joburg, you know what it is like. There are times when even your soul can just leave your body, when you feel that you just can't do it anymore. I was 22 by then, fresh from Eastern Cape, working the morning shift at Woolworth. I won't say exactly where I used to work because I'm scared that people might relate and say that, yo, this is this girl that is talking. My day started the same, except for weekends. My day will start around 4 a.m., wake up, then you had to catch a taxi from Tembisa, then you go to town. And it was just difficult working, always standing on your feet for 8 hours. Like when you go into a shop, you don't even think much about the checkout girls, the way that they have to stand on their feet, like they do get tired, those girls. So my back, it felt like it was being held together by some staples. And as for my bank account, hey, it was a joke. Capitec was basically my enemy at that point, always sending me insufficient funds notification that felt like a personal insult. I had tried everything to even borrow money from those guys, but they told me countless times that I could not qualify. But whenever I would forget about it, they would tell me blah, blah, blah about my credit score. Then I would go to the bank, then they would tell me that I can't qualify for a credit card. I was surviving on staff discount bread and black coffee, watching other rich ladies. There are those people from Senton that used to come, these rich aunties, they would buy cheese. You know those ones, the ones that I am talking about. They can buy even cheese that will cost more than your weekly rent. Then came Michael. The first time that he walked up to my till, I did not think much about it. I did not think about money rituals, the occult, Nigerian stuff, type of juju. I thought that this guy, he looked like a walking jackpot. Even though I was not a gold digger, but a girl had to think what she had to think. He was not loud or flashy like those other guys. He was quiet, and then he came close to where I was. He smelled so expensive, and I ignored it. I was too busy looking at his baskets. He had two of them, overflowing with the most expensive stuff in the store, the useless things, dragon fruit, imported lamb chops, those tiny organic blueberries that cost 100 rand for a handful. Everything I usually just dusted on the shelves while streaming for a better life. 5,890.45. I still remember very well. I said, my voice shaking slightly. He did not even check the screen. He tapped a black card, no limit, no hesitation, and just looked at me. His eyes, when he looked at me, I felt something. He came back the next day, and the next, and the next, and the next. For 10 days straight, this man would spend at least 6,000 each and every single morning. He would come before the shop was too busy. He was not buying for a restaurant. It was just groceries. On the 10th day, me being a Xhosa girl, I could not keep my mouth shut. I was tired. I just wanted to know where the hell this guy was getting all of his money. I then asked him, since I already knew his name, I said, Michael, as I laughed, who are you feeding? Is it a whole village or just one very lucky girl? He then leaned in and he said, I have no girl to chop my money, precious. I'm just buying because I just need to buy food here because it makes you to be healthy. My workmate, a girl also from Eastern Cape, whom I'll call Tandi, not her real name, she then whispered to me as he walked away, Haibo, precious, be careful, Chana. Those brothers from Midrand, they don't play. That money, it is Tokoloshi, or he's into drugs. He's going to make you to become a drug addict. Just stop speaking with that guy. But I was young, I was broke, and I was tired and sick of being broke and poor. I looked at Tandi and I said to him, To this very day, I still remind myself, even if I feel so bad about living with my husband, I said to Tandi, I would rather cry in a G-Wagon than to be happy in a taxi going to Tembisa. When Michael came back that afternoon, he asked me to join him for dinner after my shift. I did not even go back to the staff room to change. I left my Woolies uniform in a plastic bag in his back seat, felt the leather of his car against my skin, and told myself that I was finally moving from the 5% to the 95%. I did not realize that Michael, he was someone that was of the devil. The 95%, it was going to get me into trouble. It was a debt that I could never repay back. We then went to his house. Michael's house, it was in Midrand. It was not just a normal house, it was like a castle. It was one of those big houses that looks so nice and scary at the same time because of the way that it is so big. It sat behind big walls, electric fences, and in the place where he was staying, there was no noise at all. You could even forget that you are in South Africa. No one moving around. It felt so safe. The first week was like a dream that I always had of me being in the soft life. He told me that he wanted me, and if I was going to behave, I was going to be okay, and that my days of me standing behind a till were going to be officially over. He handed me a credit card and told me to go crazy. I remember walking into the Mall of Africa, buying things that I could not even pronounce. I thought that I had finally made it, but as the days went by, the luxury started to feel somehow. There were rules, always rules that I did not understand. First of all, he grabbed my phone, he deleted everyone. Whilst he was sitting right next to me, he would be like, who is this? Oh, it's my cousin brother. Delete. Who is this? Oh, it's my classmate. Delete. Who is this? Oh, it's my mom. Okay. Then he would save that same phone number in his own phone and speak with my mom just to make sure that it was my mom. The level of control Nigerian guys have, you won't even understand if you have never dated any of them. He said, Precious, he told me one night, we sat on the balcony, and then he said to me, I allowed you into my world, but there are things that I want you to understand about me. There is this money that I have. I want you to talk to me. If there is something that you do not understand, already I was having dreams. I was always being chased as if I was lost in a forest in his country in Nigeria. I then told him that I was having these weird dreams where I was being chased by a dead woman that seemed to be like his mom. Then that was when he told me that he wanted me to become his personal person. He wanted me to become his own wife one day, but he told me that if you want to become my wife, to enjoy all of this wealth with me, there is something that you have to do. But when I asked him, what is it exactly am I supposed to do? He did not want to tell me the truth. By the end of the second week, I was having like real terrible nightmares. I would see a woman standing at a junction at midnight. This woman was always wearing a white cloth, and it seemed as if this was the sister that had also died in a way that was very terrible and painful. I would wake up unable even to breathe properly, and when I would call out for Michael, it would take a long time for him to return back to the bedroom. When I would ask him, where were you all this while when I was busy calling you? And he will be like, oh, I was busy with something, and this will be around 3 a.m. early in the morning, and he would tell me that I was in my office. So it was something that was always creeping me out. I did not understand what the hell was happening in that house, and he had told me that he wanted me to stay with him for at least 3 weeks. 3 weeks, we were going to measure the strength of the chemistry that was there between me and him. And if there was chemistry, we were going to continue. I had agreed because he was giving me money and I already had a credit card that belonged to him that he had given to me. On the 13th night, When I woke up, as usual, I was alone in bed. Then I heard that downstairs, Michael was busy chanting, and it was as if he was praying. But the things that he was saying, they were so scary. It was as if I understood that he was doing some rituals. By then, I did not know that he was doing some money rituals. When I got up from the bed, I heard that there was something that was moving underneath the bed. I jumped from the bed, switched on the light. I looked underneath and I saw that there was a snake, a gray snake that was underneath there. I screamed so loud, and as for Michael, he did not even come upstairs. So I ran downstairs to where he was. I saw that Michael, he was in the lounge, he was shirtless, and he was kneeling in front of a massive bowl. And when I looked into the bowl, I saw that there was something that looked like blood that was in there. And he looked at me and he said, come here, my love, come and kneel down right next to me. I watched, I was paralyzed. He took me and then I knelt right next to him. He then started calling a name, and it was not my name. He told me that this name that he was calling, it was a name of a woman who was the wife of his rival businessman. This was so scary for me. I said, why are you calling out that woman's name? And then he said to me, this woman, she is pregnant. And I said, so what? And then he pointed upstairs where I had came from. And I said, I don't understand, Michael. Why are you speaking in riddles? Please tell me the truth. He then said, she is carrying a child, but this child is still blood, no bones yet, just pure blood. So that thing that you saw upstairs, he meant the snake, that gray snake that I had seen upstairs underneath the bed. It was the one that he was going to sacrifice this woman for, so that the businessman that was a rival of his can suffer from depression, and then he can finish him off in some of the deals that he wanted to do with him. I thought that he was joking. He took out this other black cloth and he kept on calling the name of that woman. And then I heard a hiss of a snake, and I was told by Michael not to turn around to look at that snake, for it was sliding down the steps coming downstairs where we were. And then he took this other knife that was covered in red cloth and some beads, and he started to stab it more than 6 times. At that time, that was when I saw that the bowel, the blood that was in them, it was as if there was a hidden hand that was mixing the blood that was inside of that bowel. And then I saw that gray snake. Suddenly, it was in front of us and it started to drink the blood that was inside of that bowel. All of these things that happened, it did not happen in more than 10 minutes. In about 3 minutes, the whole ritual was over. I was paralyzed. I did not know what to say, what to do. He looked at me. He lifted me up because I was unable to walk when he said, let us go upstairs, precious, so that we can rest. When we got upstairs, he was the one that had carried me, for I was unable to do anything. He then said to me, you wanted to chop my money, precious, right? Now you see how I get my money. If you want to stay my wife, you have to become my partner. You will have children, but these children, they will never walk the streets of Joburg. They will be children of the Spirit. If you are able to do that, you can have whatever that you want. The choice is yours. You can become what you want with me. Brother, it has been 9 long years since that night when I saw him performing these rituals. I'm still here. I am still staying here with Michael. We are still staying here in Midrand. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I don't know, maybe some of you will say that I am the ultimate success story. I sent money every month without fail. I bought my mom a house with a tile roof, something that I never thought I'll be able to do. My mom, back in Eastern Cape, she stays in a very beautiful suburb, and we have a double garage house back home in Eastern Cape. It is something that is an achievement to me. I drove a car one day, me and my husband, we were cruising down the N1, and he asked me what my dad did with his life until he passed away, and I told him that he was just a farm laborer, and he said, "Oh, and here you are driving a car that cost more than what your father made in all of those years." And I said, "Yes, 30 years my father worked on a farm, and he could have never afforded to buy the car that we are driving, right, sweetie?" And he looked at me and he said, "Yes. Since 2017, I have had 5 miscarriages. Every single time it is the same thing. I get to exactly 3 months, and then I will have a dream. Michael's mom will come to me, and then she will say, 'I am here to collect my grandchildren.' And whenever it happens, Michael, he excuses himself the night before this miscarriage will happen. Then he goes and he sleeps with his friend, whom he calls his brother, but they are not related. They are both from Nigeria. He spends up to 3 to 4 days staying with his friend until I am clean. And when I wake up, when I see that there is blood everywhere, if I wake up in a pool of blood, all that I do is that I remove all the bedding and I put it to the side. Then my maid will come and wash everything, clean myself up, go to a private clinic, and I tell them that I had a miscarriage. Then they clean my womb, return back, rest until my husband returns back to me. If you see me going around maybe Central City Mall, you can envy me, but you do not know that I am part of a coven. I have become okay with it now, because the thought of going back to Woolworth till of being that girl who only had 12.50 in her account. Shame, I used to suffer not being able to even pay a debt of 100 rand. I still remember that I once borrowed less than 400 rand, and those people, they were calling me every day saying that they want their money back. Lol, life happens sometimes. You know, when I am shopping, if I see a young girl behind a till looking at me like this woman has made it in life and she has that look of hope and she is hungry for success, there are times when I have stopped myself from reaching out and slapping the hell out of that girl and shaking her. I want to tell her to stay in her lane, not to want to be rich like people she does not know their background. I traded my womb for a G-Wagon. I traded my peace, and I am at peace with what I have become right now. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Let us talk about this in the comment section. She is saying that it is far much better to cry in a G-Wagon than to cry returning back from work late at night on a taxi going back to Tembisa. Is it true? She said it was a painful life, just surviving, having 12.50 in your account. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world.